So blockchain gaming, huh?
Uh,
Everyone's talking about it.
yeah, it's definitely got everyone buzzing, that's for sure.
But is it the future of gaming or just a bunch of hype? Well, this article we're diving into, The Future of Blockchain in Gaming and Entertainment,
Oh, I've seen that one.
it really digs into that question and, spoiler alert, it's a little of both.
Yeah, it really feels like we're in this kind of early phase, where everybody's throwing around Web3 and NFTs like confetti.
Yeah,
But that killer app, the one that makes everyone understand it, it's like, where is it?
right. Like we're all waiting for that breakout hit to really put blockchain gaming on the map.
Exactly.
And speaking of challenges, the article really dives into the whole in-game economy thing.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
And how it's not as simple as just like slapping some blockchain element onto a game and calling it a day.
No, not at all. I mean, it can make or break a game. Yeah, and the article does a good job explaining just how tricky it is. Imagine, right, you're designing this crazy complex game, like a massive online game, an MMO,
Right.
and the economy has to be perfectly balanced so all the players are engaged.
Right.
But then you've got cryptocurrency where the value is like constantly changing.
Oh, man, yeah.
It's a nightmare for these developers to juggle both.
It'd be like, I don't know, trying to hit a moving target in a dark room or something.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's no wonder some of these game economies are struggling.
So it's not even just about understanding blockchain. It's about solid game design principles, too.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. I mean, there are so many things developers need to consider. Like, some games become way too reliant on new players constantly joining, which just isn't sustainable, right?
Right.
And then there's balancing in-game items with real-world money.
Oh, yeah, the value proposition for players.
It gets messy, and it can be super frustrating if you're playing the game and it feels unfair.
Totally. It sounds like it takes a special kind of expertise to really crack this nut. Are there any solutions out there, though? I mean, the article did mention Chile is doing some interesting stuff in this space.
Oh, yeah, Chile's a really interesting example. They're doing something called a vertical chain, which seemed to catch your eye.
Yeah, it definitely piqued my interest.
Basically, instead of trying to be everything to everyone, they're laser focused on a specific industry, sports and entertainment.
Oh, interesting. So kind of like a niche market, but for blockchain.
Exactly. It's like, think of the difference between a general store and one of those like super specialized boutiques.
Okay, I get it.
A vertical chain can cater to the specific needs and wants of a particular sector, like a fine-tuned instrument.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So less jack of all trades, more master of one.
Exactly.
And with Chili's, they're using that approach to let fans buy these NFTs that are directly tied to their favorite teams or events.
Right. Like, have you ever wanted to own a piece of your favorite team? I mean, digitally at least. Chili's is making that happen, and it's a really interesting use case because it goes beyond the traditional relationship between fans and teams, right?
Yeah.
Like, we've had merchandise and fan clubs forever, but imagine owning a little piece of your favorite team, even digitally. That's a whole other level of engagement.
That's true. It's a different kind of connection.
Yeah, exactly.
And the article mentions some pretty big names already jumping on board,
Yeah.
like France's League One for soccer.
Yeah, it's definitely gaining some traction.
It sounds like they're onto something.
Yeah.
But does that mean gaming is going to be what finally pushes blockchain into the mainstream? Like, is this the killer app you were talking about earlier?
It's hard to say. I mean, gamers can be a tough crowd to win over.
Bro, for sure. They know what they want, and they're very vocal about it.
That's for sure. Like the article points out, they're used to a certain standard,
Yeah.
and if something feels like a cash grab, they're going to call it out right away.
Oh, absolutely. They can smell a cash grab from a mile away. And honestly, there's been a bit of a cultural clash, like trying to explain an NFT to someone who just wants to play a good game.
It's like they're speaking different languages sometimes.
Totally. And, you know, the article actually brings up a really important point about that.
Okay, yeah.
It says, there's been so much focus on the tech side of things, building up that blockchain infrastructure,
Yeah.
that we've kind of neglected the part that actually matters most to users,
Which is?
the applications,
Mm-hmm.
the actual games, you know.
Right. Like, you can have the most amazing tech in the world, but if it's not fun to use, then what's the point? It reminds me of what the article said about comparing it to other tech booms.
Oh, yeah, like what?
Like the early days of the internet, Back then it was all about building websites and connecting computers.
Right.
But it took a while for those user-friendly applications like email, or web browsers to really emerge.
Yeah, to make it actually useful for everyday people.
Exactly. Exactly. Like, make it something that everyone wants to use.
And even then, it wasn't exactly smooth sailing, right? Like, I remember when I first tried to set up an email account.
Oh, tell me about it.
It was like trying to decipher ancient hieroglyphics or something.
It was a whole thing.
Yeah. Which actually, speaking of user experience, that's another big hurdle the article talks about.
Totally. Even if you've got this amazing blockchain game, right?
Yeah.
With a solid economy and fun gameplay,
Yeah.
if it's a nightmare to use,
It's a non-starter.
people are going to give up. They're going to be so frustrated. And the article is right to call out how complicated these crypto wallets are. It's a huge barrier to entry.
Oh, I'm totally with you there. I mean, I consider myself pretty tech savvy,
Yeah.
but trying to navigate some of those wallets, it's like, do I need a degree in cryptography to understand this?
Right. Like, it shouldn't be rocket science for the average person to figure it out.
Exactly. It shouldn't be a digital escape room.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like what we were saying about the early internet. It was intimidating back then, too.
For sure. And that created this barrier to adoption, because people were like, this is too complicated. I don't get it.
Right. It feels like blockchain's kind of in that same boat right now.
It's like that awkward phase it's going through.
Totally. So how do we bridge that gap? Because for blockchain to really take off, it needs to be accessible to everyone, not just the tech wizards.
It's all about ease of use,
Right.
making it so simple your grandma could do it. And the article argues that a big part of that is security, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Remember all those stories about people losing their cryptocurrency?
Oh, yeah, those horror stories.
Because they clicked some sketchy link or someone stole their password?
Oof, yeah, it's not good.
I mean, that really hurt the reputation of the whole industry.
It definitely made a lot of people hesitant, that's for sure.
So building trust is key.
For sure.
And that starts with making it super secure and user-friendly right from the get-go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It needs to be like Fort Knox meets Disneyland.
Exactly. You nailed it. But, security is only part of the equation. The article argues that we need to move beyond just the money stuff.
Oh, interesting. So not just trading and investing.
Right. Like, let's explore how blockchain can empower people in other parts of their lives.
Okay, so less get rich quick. More, how can this make things better?
Exactly. Hit the nail on the head.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What areas does the article highlight?
Well, one area where it sees massive potential is in decentralized social networks.
Ooh, okay, now we're talking. Like, how could blockchain actually change the way we connect and interact online?
Well, imagine a social media platform, right? Like, let's say LinkedIn.
Okay, yeah.
But instead of this big corporation controlling everything, you own your data. You're in control.
Ooh, no more algorithms deciding what I see in my feed.
Exactly. You're in the driver's seat.
I'm already liking where this is going.
And the article makes a great point. This could be huge for career building.
Yeah, especially for freelancers or anyone working in the gig economy.
It's all about cutting out the middleman. It's like, imagine instead of being on YouTube, you're part of this network where you have a direct connection with your audience.
So no more middleman taking a cut.
Exactly. You got to set your own rates, potentially earn a lot more.
Wow, they could be huge for creatives. And, the article seemed really optimistic about the future of these decentralized networks.
Oh, yeah.
They even compared it to, like, the early days of the internet itself.
And it's true. Think about it. Back then, it was a few big players controlling everything.
Right.
And then, bam, the internet comes along.
Boom, decentralized.
Anyone can share their ideas with the world.
Yeah, it was a game changer.
It really was. And that's what blockchain could do for social interaction, for how we create and share content.
Yeah.
It's that big.
It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it like that.
It is.
But like with any new tech, I'm sure there are still challenges.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right.
We're talking about building these massive decentralized networks. Yeah. And they need to be secure, user-friendly, able to handle tons of users.
It's a tall order.
And then there's the whole question of governance.
Oh, right. Because without a central authority, who's making the rules?
Exactly. How do you deal with things like abuse or misinformation? There are still a lot of big questions.
Yeah, it's a whole new world we're trying to build here.
Yeah.
It definitely feels like we're still in the early stages of this whole blockchain thing.
Yeah, we are.
So much potential, but also a lot of uncertainty.
Which is what makes it so exciting. This isn't just about some new tech. It's about completely changing how we interact, how we create, how we build communities online.
I'm so glad we did this deep dive today. We covered everything from struggling game economies to the future of social networks. Talk about a wild ride.
It's been fun.
So for everyone listening, what are your takeaways? What are your predictions for the future of blockchain? Let us know. Join the conversation. We want to hear from you. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and most importantly, keep playing.